All right, today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin prices. Give it up for the S&P. All-time highs was accomplished. My last thumbnail did not lie. As I told you, that was incoming. That liquidity got swept to the upside with haste. All-time highs on S&P gives us clear skies for all-time highs on Bitcoin, as well as euphoria for that long-awaited altcoin season. Not only did the S&P clear all-time highs, but the angle of attack it is going at has stayed consistent, if not gotten steeper. You can see now from low to high, we are at 72 degrees as compared to our last trend back here was only around 55, 56 degrees uptrend, whereas we started off at a 37-degree average uptrend. What is this? It's the definition of a parabola. Assuming this continues up like so, this is what I expect for the S&P. Big blow off top before, Great Depression. But we don't have to worry about that right now. Let's make those gains off of the euphoria that's going to hit during this Roaring 20s 2.0 that is occurring before us. Now, what do we have today? Well, that was CPI, Consumer Price Index. It actually came in cold, below expectation. As you can see here, I had to update the page real quick, but yeah, 0.3% versus the expected 0.4. So inflation has started to go down on the consumer side of things, whereas the producer is still paying more. So that's an interesting confluence to have, right? Why is the producer paying more but not the consumer? But that's not something we have to worry about. Our main focus is that consumer price index has gone down, which is the more important number. So while this is a good thing for markets, it does mean that the Fed has more reason to cut now, which again is something you think would be really bullish for markets. But historically, every time the Fed has cut, it has signaled a macro top, and our big recessions have happened after, Fed cuts. Look at 2008. So if we jump over here to our CME watch tool, which is CME Group predicting future rate cut decisions, and they are pretty spot on. We can see June, nothing to worry about. July, really nothing to worry about. But we go over to September, and they are expecting a rate cut for September to be 25 to 50 basis points, and there is now even a 21% chance of a 50 to 75 basis point cut. The more they cut, the worse off it is, because it means they are needing to stimulate the economy more. Whenever they need to stimulate the economy, it means something is broken in the economy, and the markets will immediately price in that the economy is broken. And that whole stimulation effect from lowering interest rates is a lagging effect that the markets will not price in until the Fed pivots once again to either pausing or raising rates. So yeah, September is going to be the big month. I assume the top to come in around September. The markets might not collapse till October or something like that. They could definitely hold them up during election season. That wouldn't be too surprising. But especially for your larger cap assets like Bitcoin and S&P, they are going to start distribution probably going into that Fed rate cut, and they are not going to have any gains after it. But what you might see though is, big meme season rallies or altcoin rallies during the month of September or October, right? Because those are more risky assets. Retail euphoria will impact those more than smart money, distributing. So yeah, so just take that into account. September is now our target month for a top to come in. We want to be staying vigilant in the markets. Back to the charts, getting out of S&P here, going to that dollar. This is something we've been looking at, and this played out fantastic. We are now below the value area high. We found no support on it whatsoever. Not only is the dollar bearish, but it has broken levels that signal our target for the dollar is all the way down at this 100 level, which gives Bitcoin plenty of time to run while the dollar continues to collapse because they're inversely correlated assets. So yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to see on the dollar. Jumping over to Bitcoin now, finally, you can see we did in fact hold this rising parallel channel, breaking out of it to the upside with a nice backtest, launching us through our sweep levels. And this is why blind limits are so important. Like, these could have been short levels if it was structurally valid. The fact that we were closing hourly candles continuously through these levels makes them completely invalid. Bitcoin is extremely bullish right now, closing hourly candles and backtesting even above our highest recent wick. So now the only thing we really have to be watching for before all-time highs is going to be that $67,500, $68,000 level. This is somewhere I said I might potentially take a hedge short, but just like these last sweep levels, it needs to be structurally sound. It needs to have bearish order flow. I really don't expect to be attempting any leverage positions until we get up past all-time highs. And then if we do deviate those all-time highs or something like that, potentially, right? The fact that we have the dollar breaking through these support levels, unless, it was able to swing back into support here, then I'm just not going to attempt any hedge positions because I don't need to, right? The dollar should hunt down to 100. Once the dollar gets to the bottom of the range, once Bitcoin gets into all-time highs, that's when I can think about, looking for structurally bearish setups to start, like maybe head shorting and that sort of thing. Jumping out to the daily, you can see without a doubt we have cleared through the daily EMA, looking real good here. That bearish case of sweeping these levels, like doing a swing fail of these levels, probably ends up in Bitcoin doing nothing more than just back testing the daily EMA before sending up onto all-time highs. So, I wouldn't be FOMOing into leverage longs right now, because Bitcoin's probably going to pull back and stop you out if you try to attempt that, right? If you place just a long, we're back down in here. Not right now. So even though I'm bullish, don't be FOMOing in on leverage positions. That is never a good idea. But yeah, now that we're through the daily EMA, that should hold as support. And honestly, just based off of fractals, there's a good chance Bitcoin doesn't even backtest anything, and it just goes completely vertical like it's done before after ranging for a bit. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Bitcoin just goes straight up to all-time highs, does a tiny bit of consolidation here or something, and then just continues on up to 100K before a final distribution at 6 figures, or even a potential crazy blow off top type event. If we are going to have this big recession depression in 2025, why not have a .com bubble for crypto before then? And I do think that's a real possibility that I've been talking about on this channel. Going over to my levels chart here, you can see up at those 2 sweep levels we were talking about, there is, point of control, value area high. They're just dailies though. They're not that strong, but they are naked. So, naked point of controls, naked value area highs, they can act as resistance. So yeah, don't be surprised if we pull back here to the daily EMA, but I would not expect anything more than that. And I also wouldn't be surprised if we just bust right through all of that and go completely vertical here, because we do have these vectors within here, which one of either two things can happen with these imbalances. Either we swing fail on them, indicating it's bearish, or because it's a low volume gap, we just fly right through it. And I would not be surprised if Bitcoin just flies right to all-time highs. So yeah, be careful if you're shorting any of this, right? You definitely want to have a really tight stops with a structural edge, because Bitcoin has a good chance to just go ballistic. Jumping out of Bitcoin, let's go to Total 3. This is something I posted in my Discord that looked amazing, because we were just sitting on that back test of the value area low from our last bull market range. Now giving a clear bounce off that level, going through the daily EMA here on Total 3, that gives us clear validation that our target should be up here about 50% higher on the altcoin market. So yeah, the second wave of the altcoin season has started. We should go up with haste here, and I do expect even this level to flip into support and we go into price discovery on Total 3. So yeah, generational wealth will probably be made here in the altcoin market within the next coming months. Something to note though, Bitcoin dominance is continuing to rise right now, so that tells me Bitcoin is probably going to go parabolic against Total 3 for the meantime, and then altcoin season will happen more of when Bitcoin distributes. But that's for Total 3, those higher cap altcoins. I'm sure a lot of your low caps are going to outperform Bitcoin the entire time. Jumping over to Trading Light, I thought I would bring this up because it's a nice order flow representation of what we had on ETH. Someone in Discord was asking about ETH, so I decided to pull it up over here on Trading Light, and we could see there was a solid failed auction, 346 ETH versus 5.4, as well as 2.5 versus 35 ETH. Being shorted down here at the lows, bouncing off of that, creating a bullish failed auction. Not only that, but right afterwards, you do see buyers stepping in, creating a lot of buy imbalances right after a failed auction. So that's a great order flow example of when you will know that something is bullish and it's okay to, open those leverage positions, right? You want to be buying with or right after these buy imbalances. Or if you really want to, just play it safe, you could wait for a higher high than right here and go ahead and just pull a fib and enter your golden pocket. And as you can see here, no matter which strategy I would have used to enter this, I would have gotten filled and I would have my stop at entry and some nice profit right now. So yeah, we do see that here on ETH. So yeah, I thought I'd cover that real quick just because I did post that in the Discord. Make sure to join that Discord, by the way. Link is in the description down below. And with that being said, I think I'm going to end the video here. Not really much else to talk about. Everything has gone to plan, and you guys should be juicing on those altcoins. So yeah, I hope you guys are all having an awesome day. You're making some good money on this move with Bitcoin, and I certainly don't expect it to be over, at least not until the Fed starts cutting, September timeframe. So let's stay vigilant in the markets over the summer. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.